Hare Krishna. Delighted to be here with all of you today evening. Thank you for coming on a weekday. And the way we'll discuss this session is it's optical illusion. I thought that's okay. The way we'll discuss today is that I'll request some of you to read one paragraph, and then we'll discuss based on that. So broadly, we often think of the Bhagavad Gita as a philosophical book, and that is true, it is a philosophical book. But just like the Bhagavatam, there is wisdom in it, but in Bhadra Purnima at other times, we also do worship of the Bhagavatam, we do Aarti of the Bhagavatam. So like that, the Gita is non-different from Krishna. And while Krishna gives, if you consider Krishna is here and we are here, and Krishna has given us the Gita. That is the wisdom he has given. But from this wisdom, we can offer prayers. We can offer prayers for clarity, to understand what is it that is to be done. What is it actually Krishna teaching? So we can, based on this, because Krishna's words, they give us clarity. So we can pray for clarity. Then we can offer prayers for maturity. It is often our mind which keeps us immature. And ultimately, we can pray for purity. There are many things we can pray for like that. So, Krishna, the words that you have spoken, please help me to see how they relate with my life. And please help me to apply them and grow spiritually. So that is the mood in which this book is written. So let's look at the first paragraph. Do we have a second mic by chance? Which is not a large room, so whoever has a mic in their throat, who would like to read my first paragraph?
My Lord, the ultimate potency of wisdom is not just in acting as a fire destroying my ignorance, or as a boat delivering me across the ocean of material existence. Ultimately, wisdom is meant to bring me in touch with the joy that resides within me at my core.
Yes, so now, before this, the two verses gave these two metaphors. That Yathridham si samidho agnir bhasmasat kurde Arjuna. And Vrijinam santarishyasi. That through knowledge, the ignorance within us is destroyed. And through knowledge, we go beyond this ocean of material existence and attain Krishna. So now that is all there. It is true. But what is the purpose of knowledge? There are many different kinds of knowledges in the world. And every knowledge has some purpose. So if now AI is coming up. And now prompt engineering has become a big field in itself. So now what has happened? We learn something so that we can do something. Generally, knowledge is associated with some purpose. Now we have Jnanendriyas and then we have Karmendriyas. So in general, Jnana and Karma are related. We acquire some Jnana so that we can do some Karma. So if somebody says that you can study this for 6 years and after that you won't get any job. So you think I'm a madman to study like this? Either you think I have come from a mental asylum or you have come from a mental asylum. Why should I study? Then somebody say, I have a hobby, I have curiosity. That is also interest. That is okay, I get some pleasure in doing this. Then I enjoy doing this. So Jnana is always associated with some karma. So when we talk about spiritual knowledge, what is the purpose of that spiritual knowledge? So that is described in this verse, that Atmani Vindati, that deep within us, at our core, there is a great joy that exists. And in the Bhagavatam, there are metaphors given like a musk deer is searching all over from fragrance, but the fragrance is inside its own body and doesn't know it. So it says that we are like that. So there is joy deep within us, but it is buried deep right now. The purpose of knowledge, in that sense, if we consider, it's like some places there is gold mine. So I was in California 3 months ago, and at one time in California there was a huge gold rush. I don't know, here Gold Coast, is it because there's gold over there? No. Sorry?
It's the sand, golden sand.
Golden sand. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so gold is used metaphorically over there. But the idea is that if there is gold somewhere, then what is the idea? Okay, first I need to know there is gold. Then I need to know, okay, where exactly is the gold? Then I need to know how can I get to the gold, isn't it? So, like that, spiritual growth, in one sense, is like a gold exploration. It's like a gold digging. Now, the word gold digger has got a negative connotation. Like somebody who develops a relationship just so that with a wealthy person so they can become wealthy. That has a negative connotation. But the idea is that we are mining for gold. And that is what spirituality is. We want to go deep inwards to find the treasure inside us. And the knowledge that we are seeking is for that purpose. So let's look at this. Next paragraph, who would like to read?
After all, my Lord, it is you who are present forever in my innermost core. And wisdom culminates in recognizing your inner presence and your universal benevolence. Bless me, O Lord, to diligently practice the yoga that makes wisdom realized.
Yes. So what is there at our core? The Atma is there. But beyond the Atma, there is the Paramatma. The idea is that if we consider the self is multi-level. At the outermost level, there is the body. In the body, there are senses with which we look at the outer world and function in the outer world. Then there is the mind, which is like the mirror, or it's like a screen, depending on how it is. Then there is the soul. Now, beyond this, there is the super soul. So, when we go into this inner topography, now most of us, our consciousness is going outwards. Consciousness is Chaitanya. So, if I consider a phone, the phone has a flashlight. And with that flashlight, what happens? A beam of light is moving outwards. So, when the beam of light moves outwards, the source of light is like the soul. And the beam of light is the consciousness of the soul. So, Atma and Chaitanya. Now, we look outward to find something that is pleasurable. It means attractive sense objects or powerful things, position, prestige. We look outwards and we try to gain knowledge. Okay, how can I gain more power, more pleasure, more position? So that is there as a natural thing that we all do. So, can you see this flashlight now? So now, if you imagine, can you see the flashlight now? Yeah. So this pipe through which it's coming out, that's like the mind. Now, through the mind, the consciousness comes outwards. So, the mind can act like a window. Window through which we see outwards. However, the mind is also meant to act. The mind is multifunctional. And just as it acts as a window, it can also act as a mirror. Cheto darpan marjanam. So, darpana is a mirror. So, when it's a mirror, when we look at the mirror, we don't see through the mirror. We don't see through the mirror, we see ourselves through the mirror. We see through a window and we see ourselves through a mirror. So, our mind is multifunctional. Most of the time, it is acting like a window. Actually, the mind is a very different, big topic. Sometimes the mind doesn't even act like a window. It just becomes like a TV screen and starts showing a movie that is not, nothing is happening out there. So, but the mind is meant to act like a mirror so that we can look at ourselves. And not only look at ourselves, it's like we are looking outwards. I'm looking at you. I'm searching for some close friend. But that friend is right here behind me. but I'm not looking at that friend. So like that, Krishna is with us, within us, but we are not looking at Krishna. So the whole process of spirituality at one level, when we look inward to reach the soul. And then beyond the soul, the super soul. So how does this happen? Basically right now the consciousness is going outwards. But then eventually with the passage of time, same soul is here. The soul is here. The mind is here. And the super soul is here. So what happens? Is that a problem? For what? No, I'm okay. That's not going to work because I'll have to lean forward much more. Right? Don't worry, it's fine. I'm used to this. So now what will happen is the consciousness goes here, and if it's a mirror, then the consciousness comes back. Let's keep it as a single way to keep it simple. The consciousness comes here and then comes back, and then we see ourselves. The consciousness comes here and goes backwards, and then we see Krishna. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Consciousness is meant to become like a mirror by which we can see inward. Now all this may seem a bit mysterious, but let's move forward and we'll try to see what it means from a practical perspective. So when we understand Krishna's inner presence, we understand that Krishna is not just there, Krishna is there for my good. Universal benevolence. Suhrudam Sarva Bhutana. Krishna doesn't say that I am Surudam Mad Bhaktana. He doesn't say Surudam Mad Shuddha Bhaktana. I'm only the well-wisher of my pure devotees. No. He's Sarva Bhutana. Krishna loves and cares for everyone. Yeah. You would like to read?
Me?
The light of wisdom, my Lord, reveals everything, not in the sense of making me omniscient, but in the sense of helping me see how you, my omnipotent, omniscient Lord, are always orchestrating my life for my ultimate welfare.
Wow, very tough words in that. Good. Very good job. Nice. So, I orchestrated this for the toughest passage to come to you. You passed successfully, flying colors. So now, when we turn inwards, for us, ultimately, when we look at life, there's so many things happening in life. This person is doing like this and that person is doing like that. And many times things seem to be going wrong. I did like this person did like that. And all that is, it's natural. There are lots of things that go wrong in life. But beyond what is going wrong, when we understand that Krishna is in charge, that Krishna is orchestrating things for our ultimate good. That what happens in the short run may be bad, but it's not intrinsically or permanently bad. If we consider our life journey, so sometimes something bad happens to us. So at that time, we feel this happened to me. Oh, why did this person betray me like this? Why did I lose that job? Why did I fail in this interview? Why did that relationship go south? Why did this happen? This happened to me. Now, that is true, unfortunately, but if we keep moving forward in our life, then in time, we may realize that actually what happened to me, it actually happened for me. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Now what does it mean? That means it was not just something terrible that in this chaotic or cruel world, it just came upon me. But through this, Krishna was working. Now that does not mean that if we could have avoided it, we should not have avoided it. But okay, it happened. If we look at Srila Prabhupada's life, he was trying to share Krishna Bhakti for 30-40 years in India and nothing worked out. Now, Prabhupada, if you read his books, it's not that when he was going on America, he had some secret book in which he found some secret points. And those points when he spoke in America, Americans became convinced. Like sometimes, Prabhupada came up with a new example. He told a new story. That new story was like a knockout story. No, if you read Prabhupada's writings before his first canto Bhagavata was published, before he went to America. His Ishopishat was written before he went to America. Now, if you read his books before he went to America and after he went to America, it is not that there is anything dramatically new in his writings. It is, of course, as he went to America, he observed, he understood, and he gave some contemporary examples. For example, he used phrases like stay high forever, adopted those phrases. But beyond that, it was not that suddenly Prabhupada had to give some new insight which transformed his outreach. It was that Prabhupada was consistently giving the same message. But at one particular point, the impact is dramatically increased. So eventually, when Prabhupada went to America and he succeeded, and then he came back to India, the result was that this Swami, Indians thought nobody knew about this Swami, and he went to America all alone, and he was so spectacularly successful. So Prabhupada's lack of success in India made his success in America even more astonishing, even more eyeball popping, even more mind boggling. And in that sense, what happened to him happened for him. So Krishna is orchestrating life. And now we could say if Prabhupada had succeeded in India, he could have had followers, he could have had financial support. Maybe he would have succeeded more in America if he had already had some success in India. What ifs are just an entertaining pastime. But by pastime I don't mean Leela, it's time pass. So it's okay, what ifs are not very helpful in life. If this had happened, if that had happened. But what happened to me happened for me. So now, actually, this journey that we need to cross, this distance that we need to cross, it is this distance for which we need faith. That to push on in the intermediate, when what happened to me, how it has happened for me is not yet revealed. Faith is meant to give us that patience to push on. And that patience, now how does it come about? Now that faith can come at least to some level from wisdom. That when we have the wisdom, when we study the books like the Bhagavad Gita and understand Krishna's plan therein, or understand how Krishna is in charge, how Krishna is the well-wisher of everyone, then that wisdom enables us to take the leap of faith. Now, wisdom itself is not faith. They're two separate things. Like if I'm sick and I have tried many treatments and nothing is working, and then I hear about some new experimental drug or experimental treatment, I read about it, it seems to make sense, the studies seem to be promising, then that reading, that understanding enables me to, okay, decide, let me try it out. That's why I may put in faith. So the knowledge is what enables us to choose to have faith. Knowledge does not produce faith, but knowledge makes the choice of faith easier. So now what the Gita is doing for Arjuna is this. The Gita is giving Arjuna knowledge so that he will make a choice. For him, he is feeling, what a terrible thing. I have to fight against Bhishma and Drona. This is the stuff of nightmares. Why is it the stuff of nightmares? Bhishma and Drona are not just his elders. These are the elders from whom he learned archery. These are the elders for whose pleasure he learned archery. And now, these are the elders whom he has to kill with that same archery. A more cruel nightmare is difficult to imagine. For somebody who is a respectful student, for somebody who is a respectful subordinate, why is this happening to me? Actually, Arjuna has this question. How am I to respond in the situation? So Krishna's knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita helps him to calm down. Sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. I will do your will. So the treasure within is, when we say we are trying to go look for gold within, what is that treasure? The treasure is the realization that Krishna is present within me. Krishna cares for me. Krishna wants the best for me. And I just need to cooperate with Krishna. Let's move to the next paragraph. Any of the Vaishnavis would like to hear?
Please, O Lord, until I reach that state, until the light of wisdom reveals your inexhaustible love, guide me through the dark night of the soul. Help me, my Lord, to hold onto you, even in those moments of trial, when I do not see or feel that you are holding on to me.
Yes. So, we often use the word shelter. Take shelter of Krishna. Now, the shelter of Krishna is somewhat mysterious. For example, if it's raining, we find a tree, we find a house, we find a shed. So there we feel the protection from the rains. We feel the relief from the rains. So now, how does shelter work? It's like if I am here and there is a lot of rain coming, then I go over here. Maybe there is some kind of house over here with a door. As you can see, my drawing is great. So, so you go inside and you get shelter. So what happens is we feel the shelter. Okay, and the rain has gone. But with respect to Krishna, sometimes we don't feel the shelter. We feel it like I am trying to hold on. But is there something really out there that I'm holding on to? Or is it just my own imagination, hallucination? So sometimes we feel it's like we are calling out into the vast emptiness. If we feel like that. So how do we feel on? So here, this is where knowledge helps. I'm linking back to the starting point that how do we experience the shelter of Krishna? So this is my consciousness. Now, initially, Krishna is one component in my consciousness. Let me say right now, you are hearing this talk. So you're hearing this talk, that means now you are aware that, okay, you're sitting in this house. You're aware that your body is tired. You're aware that you're bored with the class. You're aware that you have to go home and do quite a few things. You're aware that you are busy day tomorrow. There are many things in the consciousness. Now hopefully one of the things is what is going on in this class. So now when that happens, so if it is at least one of the things, this is, we are giving attention. That means we give entrance. We give entrance to Krishna. Now when we give entrance to Krishna into our consciousness, at that time Krishna might seem to be just one among 100 other things in our consciousness. Oh, I have my job, I have my family, I have my my health and all these things. Krishna is also one of them. So at that time we may not feel any difference at all. And especially if there are so many other things in our consciousness, then trying to even give attention to Krishna is difficult. So letting Krishna be even one component in our consciousness is difficult. But if we do that, gradually what happens is magic. This is our consciousness, and if we give entrance to Krishna, gradually Krishna reveals himself to be much bigger. And then as we experience Krishna to be much bigger, then actually it is we who gain entrance. Now gain entrance is not in the sense of merging, but it's in the sense of immersion. We realize Krishna is a much bigger reality, and my consciousness gets immersed in Krishna. It becomes absorbed in Krishna. Now, this stage, it comes, and we have all experienced it at times. Sometimes when we become absorbed in Krishna, it's as if the whole world doesn't exist. Like we are sometimes a very transportative kirtan is there, or sometimes a very divine darshan is there, or sometimes a very absorbing lila or katha is going on, and we feel as if I've forgotten the whole world. That transportational experience we have all had at times. What has happened over there is Krishna is revealed to be such a bigger reality that whatever are the problems in our life, we feel as if we just moved away from there. So our consciousness becomes absorbed in something bigger. This is the experience of the shelter of Krishna. But this is the stage where we are trying to hold on to Krishna. Why hold on? Because there are so many things in our consciousness. There are so many things in the world around us that may demand our attention, or that may seduce our attention. And among those, somehow, we try to hold on to Krishna. But when we do this is the time eventually we realize, actually Krishna is holding on to me. So this realization that Krishna is holding on to me will come. But it won't come immediately. It's like when a baby is crying, initially the baby is just aware, okay, my stomach is paining, I am hungry. And the baby, sometimes you give the baby some milk, if the baby is too restless, the baby throw the milk away also. The baby is so restless, it is caught in its own pain or whatever, it doesn't notice. But somehow, when that milk is given and that comfort is experienced, then the pain goes away. But that transition phase is there. That we have to push on. So for each one of us, this journey where we are trying to give attention to Krishna, but it is that attention has not yet led to absorption. That is a difficult phase. That is the phase when we need, at a basic level, knowledge and faith. Knowledge that Krishna is the bigger reality. Faith that I will experience that bigger reality. I will experience shelter. I will experience inner peace. I will experience sublime joy. That Kale Atmani Vindati. I'll experience that. So this knowledge and faith in that sense go together. Would I read the last paragraph?
Please, O Lord, let me
Yeah, please.
understand that staying true to my faith during such moments will bring me closer to you faster. Let that truth inspire me to hold fast to you, my Lord, always.
Yes. So there are routine moments in our life, and there are the extraordinary moments in our life. Like every day as student goes to school is important, but then there is the exam. That is especially important. Every day we are working on a project that's important, but that project is to be released. A product is based on the project, the product is to be released. Then that's an especially important time. So while all moments are important, some moments are especially important. And for us, those moments of test, when what has happened to me, it is not yet revealed how it has happened for me. During those times, that's the time of the test. And that's the time we need to be taking shelter of Krishna. So that is the time when we need the knowledge that will give us the conviction to put our faith. It's like, if I'm taking a treatment and treatment is actually healing me, then I need faith, but not so much it's working. But if I'm taking a treatment and it doesn't seem to be working, then should I keep taking it or not? That's an important decision to make. So, but if it is a predicted phase, initially for some time it doesn't work, then we have to push on through that treatment. So, this knowledge, so the theme which we are discussing is knowledge leads to faith, and that faith leads to the shelter. So we want knowledge. From knowledge will come faith. It's not a natural step, but it's a logical step. Knowledge enables us to have faith. And then faith will lead us to the experience of shelter. It will take time, but the experience of shelter will come. So let's talk about how this knowledge can be cultivated. So in the Bhagavad Gita, so our topic was 4 ways of gaining knowledge. So our class is starting right now. Not really. Concluding, I'm not going to talk elaborately about the 4 ways because we know the 4 ways, but I wanted to give a context to it to understand how it works. So one level Krishna says in 4.34. What does he say? Tadvidhi pranipatena. So how do we get knowledge? It is from the gurus. It's interesting. The word that is used over here is a plural word, not a singular word. Jnaninas tattvadarshina. So it is not just one guru. We can have many shiksha gurus. We can learn from many people. So those who have tattvadarshi, those who have got some realization of the truth, hearing from them, learning from them, that is one primary way. Now, another Krishna says is Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. So, Sattva, cultivating a lifestyle of Sattva is very important. He talks about it in the 14th chapter, finally, 14.9. See, what the Guru teaches is important. But how will we be able to implement that in our life? So, cultivating Sattva to some extent at least. Say, right now, if while you are sitting and hearing this class, now sometimes when we are hearing a class online, we might be cooking, we might be cleaning, we might be doing other things. You can also hear at that time, but it can't be that attentive. But if we are in a marketplace, there's noise all around. It's much more difficult to hear. Now, imagine it's not just noise all around. If we are hearing and then we are yelling at someone. So the noise is coming not from outside in, it is going from inside out. Then can we hear something? Not much, isn't it? So in Rajoguna and Tamoguna, there is a lot of noise inside us. There is this mental chatter and mental clutter. So in Rajas and Tamas, because of chatter means constantly something is going on. Clutter means there are so many things inside, we don't even know what is inside. So Sattva enables us to actually internalize that knowledge. Sattva is a stage where relatively the mental clutter and chatter. Clutter is all kinds of scattered thoughts are there, and chatter is that all kinds of voices are there. So both of these, they decrease. When they are reduced to sattva, then there's a greater chance that we can hear. So sattva could mean something as simple as we try to sleep early, we wake up early, we try to eat our food at regulated times. Sattva could mean we try to allot some time for sattvic activities. So what are the specific ways in which we can bring sattva in our life? That's something which we have to decide. because everybody is in a different situation in their life. But even a little increase in sattva, we'll find that the knowledge will start having more impact in our life. So we are hearing, but now again, sattva is good, but ultimately we have to put faith. Sattvat sanjayati jnanam. Now the third thing Krishna says is something which is much more direct and personal. He says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna says, Desham tadayuktana bhajatam priti purvakam. So it is when there is favorable devotion. Devotion is devotional practice or devotional service. When we do some seva to Krishna, we go to a temple cheerfully, we are happy to do some service, we are happy to come for some programs. So when we are doing favorable devotional practice, this is beyond the normal. It is Krishna who is intervening in our life. This Krishna says that I will give you the knowledge. Tesha satatayuktana bhajatam priti purvakam. So this is a very special kind of knowledge, and I'll elaborate on that shortly. Buddhi yogam tam. The buddhi by which we can do yoga. Yoga is connection with Krishna, ultimately. And here it is said, Kale atmani tat swayam yoga samsiddha. When you become perfected in yoga. So even a small amount of service that we do, whatever, in the bhakti tradition, seva is emphasized so much. The reason is that seva it pleases Krishna. Whatever way we might be doing seva. So seva might not seem like a very intellectual activity. It's important, no doubt. I'll talk about intellectual activity also important later as the last part. But what it is that when we do service, it is the Krishna factor starts intervening in our life much more. They are showing Krishna, please intervene. The same thing is talked about in Bhagavatam, that Shushusho Shraddha Dhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtham Shivanat. That Vasudeva Katharuchi, that attraction towards Krishna, that attraction. When we hear about Krishna, what happens? There are so many wonderful pastimes about Krishna that naturally leads to increase in our faith. That leads naturally to an increase in the transformational experiences that we get. So this is the practice of bhakti. Now, the last thing that Krishna says is in 1862, or rather 1863, he says, Vimarshan. Vimarshan is contemplation. Vimrishaitat asheshena yathech siddha guru. At the end of the Gita, Krishna says, now you deliberate. Deliberate and do as you desire. So that means before we take any decision, Krishna is saying deliberate. Now deliberation is basically contemplation, analysis, using our knowledge that we have and then putting it together. Okay, what do I want to do? There are many things that we know, but now deliberation is something like Sattva Guna, but it is slightly different from Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is more like cultivating a lifestyle. We try to make lifestyle changes by which our mind become more peaceful and we become more receptive to wisdom. But Vimarshan, the way Krishna is describing is, like, just develop a habit of taking a pause. Pause to pray. Pause to think. Pause to collect ourselves. So now, for many of us, we have impulses inside us. There are many times certain things pop up inside us and, hey, why did I do that? Now we may know I should not be doing it, but I do it. When I was growing up, one of my hobbies was learning English words. I just loved picking up a dictionary and memorizing words. And I developed quite a good vocabulary. Now, while I was growing up, I also had a bit of a temper. Now, having a bad temper is a problem. But having a bad temper and a good vocabulary This is a far bigger problem. Most people, when they get angry, they may yell at someone, but they just become incoherent. Most people, what is this person speaking? This person has gone off the rails. We just tune off from that person. That person is speaking crazy things. But if somebody is articulate and they get angry, they can be very sarcastic, they can be very biting, they can be very cutting. So, I was a nice person, or at least I thought I was a nice person. But there are these moments when I would just speak viciously and it would hurt other people a lot. And this was 1990, so there's not much technology there. But one of my friends, one day just got some recorder. The recorders are not small at that time, they're big. He got his suitcase and I got angry and he recorded what I had spoken. And then, now, I don't know if any of you remember, the first time you hear your voice on the recording, it's not easy to recognize your voice. Hey, that's my voice. So, then he just played the recording and my first comment was, what a nasty person. How can someone speak like this? And then he told me, do you know who that nasty person is? And he decided to have a little bit fun with me. I said, no, who is it? He is here in the room right now. Okay, I started looking all around. Oh, he's very close to us. I started looking at our neighbors who were sitting over there. He's actually very close to me right now. I said, okay, who is that? I said, you fool, it's you. So finally, I was shocked. Then I realized that I couldn't believe it, but then he played it and then he reminded me and I said, this is really what I had spoken. I mean, I don't want to be like this. That I felt it's like there's something inside us that just pops up and it just erases all our knowledge. What I know is like, it's the knowledge that we have, we remember it when we have to instruct others. And we forget it when we have to apply it. And I just felt I cannot do this. So at that time, I talked with my mother and she told me that you just learn to pause. There's a small thing, just when you feel angry, just pause. It was very difficult to pause at that time. And pausing, some people say, count till 5. So there was one kid who was very short tempered. His mother told him, when you get angry, count till 5. And one day he came back home, with all bruises on his face. What happened? So I told you count till 5. Yeah. But the other kid, his mother told him to count only till 3. So sometimes what happens that just trying to stuff our emotions inside, it does not work. But the idea is, what do we do in a pause? So Krishna is not just telling Arjuna to pause. Pause to reflect. Vimrishaitat asheshena. This last point about knowledge, conclude with this, is that, see, for all of us, we may hear many, many things. And it's good. Even if we forget all those things, doesn't matter. See, Shravanam and Smaranam, both of them are independent limbs of Bhakti. And if we have done Shravanam, that itself is purifying. Even if there is no Smaranam after Shravanam, if we just heard, that much time we have given to Krishna, that much attention we have given to Krishna, and that is purifying. That is going to be beneficial for us. Of course, the benefit will be much more if there can be Smaranam. But we cannot remember everything. So from what we hear, if we take one point, from any class that we have, take one point, and okay, this struck me. Now, when you say I like this point, don't just think I like this point. Try to go deeper. Try to do some immersion. Why did I like this point? Now, what about this point struck me? Maybe I had heard something before, or maybe this helped me to see my experience in new light. So vimarshan as contemplation or deliberation. I'll talk about two steps in this and then we'll conclude this class. And how do we contemplate or deliberate? So the first step is that if something has struck us, oh, I like this point. So ask ourselves the question why. Why did it strike me? Now we may not always get an answer, but just ask this question. I like this point, wonderful. But why did I like this point? Okay, maybe I like this particular lila. Okay, that's nice. Or maybe, as I said, when we think about the why question, it helps us to explore a bit more. Try to see more connections. Okay, this will help me in this situation in my life. Or sometimes, I like this point very much. One devotee was telling me, why? That other devotee doesn't listen to me. Now this point I can use to make him listen to me. Okay, that's an external use, not bad. But okay, that's why I like it. So why did I like it? Ask yourself the question why. And that will itself create more mental tracks within us. That it will be easier to recollect it. And the second step is for contemplation is that how can I recollect it? How can I make it more accessible? So why did it connect with me? And how can I reconnect with it in future? So maybe reconnecting it could mean that we on our phone we have a notepad and we write down that point over there. If we have anger, we have insecurity, we have jealousy, we have greed, whatever the particular challenge that is troubling us, that seems to cause our brain to freeze. That's like a virus which just wipes out the knowledge that we have. So what is it that some insight that can help us counter that? And if we focus on that, okay, note down those points, 1, 2, 3. If we note down those points and keep them with us, then in that pause, we will have something to reflect on. And then that knowledge will awaken. So this is, remember I talked about we have to give attention, we have to give entrance, and then we will gain entrance. So now, there could be many things we can give entrance to. But if there is something which we have already been attracted to, which you have already found striking, then it will be easier to give attention to that. It will be easier to move from that stage to the stage where we become absorbed in it. So in this way, the knowledge can be internalized. And jnanam labdva param shanti achirena adhigacchati. Krishna says that soon with that knowledge we will come to a sublime peace. Achire adhigacchati. So I'll summarize what we discussed today. Our broad topic was the power of knowledge and how to tap the power of knowledge. So, how to tap the power of spiritual knowledge. The first, I discussed this broadly in 3 parts. The first part was, I discussed about this theme of what is knowledge, that we go inwards. There is the self, and there is the body, the mind, the soul, and the super soul. So normally our consciousness is going outwards. So from here, super soul, soul, mind, body. Now we want our consciousness, when it goes outwards, whenever we get some jnana, that jnana is for some karma. We want to do something with the knowledge. So when we look for spiritual knowledge, what is it that we want to do with it? This knowledge is help to find inner gold. That inner gold is our connection with Krishna. So the idea is, with this knowledge, when we gain this knowledge, then the soul becomes, the mind becomes like a mirror. When the mind becomes like a mirror, then we can perceive ourselves and we can perceive Krishna. So, Cheto darpana marjanam. Now, how does the mind become a mirror? So, the knowledge we are seeking is to go toward that inner treasure. And in that connection, we discussed that when we are trying to gain this knowledge, when we are trying to go inwards, so going inwards is difficult because there are so many stimuli in the outer world that are catching our attention. So, if this is my consciousness, then initially Krishna or the wisdom of Krishna has to be at least one component. This is where here we give entrance. And then when we give entrance, gradually what happens from there? We gain entrance. That Krishna is revealed to be a much bigger reality. And when Krishna is revealed to be the much bigger reality, then that's when we gain entrance. So this journey from giving entrance, oh, this is Krishna, does Krishna even matter? Does Krishna even care? All those questions might be there. Why should I focus on Krishna? So this is here, we are trying to hold on, and then we are trying to hold on, and here, you understand that Krishna is holding on to us. So to go on this journey, what we need is that I talk about what is faith. Faith is broadly the persistence, that this distance from the time when what happened to me, time will reveal that it happened for me. So now to push on during that time, for that we need faith. So we discuss how faith can come from knowledge. From knowledge comes faith. If I have knowledge how a medicine works, I'll keep taking the medicine. And from that, we will get the shelter. Not just shelter, but the experience of shelter. And then I discussed about how do we acquire this knowledge. That is the last part. So what are the 4 things we discussed? One was with the gurus. We hear from the gurus. Second is we try to cultivate some level of sattva. That will help us to have some level of calmness, some level of clarity by which things can be internalized. And then is we do some seva. By that we have the buddhi yoga. Krishna's intervention is there in our life. And then there is the vimarshan. Vimarshan is the contemplation. So when we deliberate, when we contemplate, then that instant when our knowledge seems to be wiped out, that immersion immersion can help us to avoid that. So 434, 14:9, 10:10 and 18:62. So immersion, how do we do this? I discussed 2 steps. First is that why. Ask ourselves if some point, any striking point is there for us. We can't contemplate on everything. If we try to contemplate on everything, we'll get exhausted, we'll contemplate on nothing. So take one point, any striking point. Why? Why did it connect with me? So try to understand. And then second is how. How can I reconnect with it? So how can I keep it accessible for myself? How can I maybe speak it to others, share with someone, put it in my own words? And in this way, when we learn to cultivate knowledge, for us Krishna will be experienced as a bigger reality, and our capacity to face life's challenges will become much stronger. So let us conclude by repeating the prayer once again. Grant me the wisdom, O Lord, that reveals your endless love. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Are there any quick questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, that was really phenomenal how you drew everything up for each section and then at the end you summarized by drawing the same things smaller, like we zoomed out. You redrew them, really phenomenal. My question was around happened to me and then happened for me. In my limited experience, what I've seen is that it tends to be very anthropomorphic. Both the happened to me, obviously, but the happened for me also. So it's like we use our own intelligence to give labels to, oh, Krishna did this for me because this had to happen. But that is through our understanding, based on our thing. It's not that somehow Krishna has appeared and told us. So often I find it to be a bit of a, I don't have a word for it, but it kind of like, because Krishna has to do something in my life, therefore I'm going to say this is what Krishna did. We find some positive and we say this is why Krishna did this for me.
Yeah, good point. So, no, we don't know for sure that something happened for us and that Krishna did it. So, isn't it that we are anthropomorphizing? That means we are trying to make it, putting ourselves at the center of the universe and thinking that the universe is working for me. Well, there are two ways of looking at it. One is that there is a certain level of mystery in the universe. That we humans can never know for sure why things happen. In fact, in many ways, as we grow in our life, it's not just that we learn new things, but as we grow, we also learn that what I thought I knew, I don't know. Isn't it? So there is in life, in our life journey, as we are moving forward, there'll always be an element of uncertainty. That what is happening, why is it happening, how am I meant to make the best out of it? Now this uncertainty can lead us in two ways. Negative, it can lead us to insecurity. Oh, anything bad can happen, what if a terrible thing happens? And then that insecurity can lead us to paranoia and paralysis and all those things. Now, the other way they look at it is that uncertainty can lead us to curiosity. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, Brahma Jigyasa is not just starting aphorism for people who are just materialistic. The Brahma Jigyasa is a guiding principle for everyone throughout their spiritual life. How is the spiritual acting in my life? What is actually going on in my life? So, with curiosity, when we work. Now, what is the idea of curiosity? That, yes, I don't know, but I'm eager to know. In one sense, curiosity is an admission of ignorance. When I say I'm curious to know, that means I'm admitting I don't know. But curiosity is not the same as insecurity. Oh, I don't know, so I'm fearful. It's like curiosity, it's a very interesting emotion. There is what I know and there is what I don't know. Now, in the difference between curiosity and insecurity, in one sense, in both we are looking at what I don't know. But in insecurity, there is a devaluation of what I don't know. Whereas in curiosity, there is valuation. I value what I know and I want to know more in my life. So, with this broad first understanding that for us, curiosity is a key principle. That even those who are enlightened, aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva vachantema buddha bhava samudaya. They are Buddha, they are enlightened. But what are the enlightened doing? The next one, machitta madhata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shimam nityam shishanti chiramadya bodhayanta. Even the enlightened are enlightening each other. Why? Because Krishna is so unlimited. Krishna's ways of working are unlimited. In many ways, some of the conversations in the Bhagavatam are actually between enlightened souls. Bhishma is the enlightened soul, Yudhishthira is the enlightened soul. So Bodhayantaha Parasparam is the enlightened and enlightening each other. There is always so much to know about Krishna. But they are not. Is there uncertainty? Yes. Is there anxiety? Maybe there is a bit of anxiety. But an insecurity in the sense of existential, there is chaos in life, everything is disorderly. It's not like that. That kind of angst that leads to depression and suicidal ideas, that is not there over there. Why? Because there is a foundation that, yes, I have practiced bhakti, I have lived a spiritual life, I have experienced something in my life. And based on that, I have some foundation, I have some conviction. So, for us, we move with curiosity. Now, one important thing which you brought up is that we can never have certainty. That's why I said that if Prabhupada had got a lot of success in India and then he had gone to America, might he have been much more successful, much more influential? It's possible. If Prabhupada had stayed on for 5-10 years, so departing 77, so much more could also happen. We don't know. So when we say this happened to me and this happened for me, is that our analysis of specific events? Can we have categorical certainty about that?
No.
I don't think so. When Prabhupada goes to America, Ache kichu karya tabe ei anumane. Nahe keno ani bena ei ugrasthane. Prabhupada is saying, when he's on the coast of America, Krishna, you must have some purpose for me. Anumane, I guess that. I guess you must have some purpose. Prabhupada is making an inference. And what is the basis of that inference? Nahe keno ani bena ei ugrasthane. Otherwise, why would you bring me here? Why would you bring me here? Means what? If for Srila Prabhupada at that age, to get to America itself was no short of a miracle. The specific means by which he went to America might not have been miraculous. He went by a ship, not like Hanuman flew across the ocean. But still, that Prabhupada got there was extraordinary. And it's a very unlikely journey for Prabhupada to survive 2 heart attacks, for Prabhupada to be able to get the sponsorship, make all the arrangements. And then that also, Ugrasthani. Here Prabhupada had been living in Vrindavan. So it's like going from the capital of devotion to the capital of illusion. Now, why would Krishna get... Now, Prabhupada tried, of course, but it succeeded. So why would Krishna get him there? So he's saying that Krishna, you must have some plan. Otherwise, why would you get me there? So what does that mean for us? If we look at our own life, we all can think of things that have gone wrong in our life. But each one of us can also think of things that have gone right in our life. If we are just alive, that means there's more right than wrong in our life. Whatever be our age, we probably know so many people who have not lived up to our age. Now I started reconnecting with my school friends and college friends. And I was in a school, we were in the same class for almost 40 of us were in the same class. 10 of those have passed. And I'm not a very old person. Actually, I don't think I'm very old. But the thing is that if we are alive, there's more right than wrong in our life. So, if we just have a basic level of faith in Krishna, and we accept that God exists and God cares, then Krishna has not brought me this far to abandon me now. If Krishna had wanted to abandon me, he could have abandoned me long ago. If there are many dangers which I have gone through, and many dangers have been painful, but there are many dangers which I have survived, and I have moved on. And no, I can say that I worked hard and I was creative, I was determined. But there are so many other things which also worked out well for me to survive that. So it's a reasonable inference that we are making. When I say what happened to me, happened for me. So that's why we cannot have a categorical certainty. But the point is, Krishna can bring good out of the bad. That is the principle. Now, exactly from what bad, what good he will bring out, that we can't know for sure. And that is not given to us. It is like I was giving a talk in Singapore. So one devotee asked us, Krishna wants us to follow his plan. But then Krishna doesn't reveal his plan. So how can we follow his plan if he doesn't reveal his plan? So I told him, it is a part of Krishna's plan that we do not know Krishna's plan. What do I mean by that? It's not just a joke. The point is that Krishna does not want us to be like programmed robots. This is my program for you, just follow it. Krishna wants each one of us to be an individual. And he wants us to make individual choices. In the spiritual world, when the gopis are cooking for Krishna, it is not that Krishna every day gives a menu and a recipe. Cook this and cook this only this way. No. The gopis know what Krishna likes. The gopis see what they feel inspired to do. And Krishna is going to surprise me. So Krishna has not given us our individuality to take it away in the name of following some plan of his. Krishna's overall plan is more like a direction than a specific lane. Krishna wants us to grow in spiritual wisdom, to grow in spiritual attraction, to realize the futility of material things. So it's like, if I am here and Krishna is here, so Krishna's broad plan is that I come towards him. But within that, whether I take this particular lane or I take this particular lane or I take which particular lane I take, that is, we are not programmed to that extent. So one part of that openness that is there, that also means that the inferences that we make in particular situations, they may not necessarily be exactly right, but they can be in the right direction. Just like when we study scripture and we come up with some realization. This word is correct, this word is correct with this word. And this verse can mean this. Now, did Krishna exactly intend to mean that when he spoke those words? We don't know, isn't it? But if that particular analysis, that link between words, that link between verses, helps us to get a deeper appreciation for Krishna's wisdom, it is anukul for our bhakti. If it is anukul, then it is cool. If it is pratikul, then it is not cool. So the idea is that there will be a certain level of uncertainty in it. And that's a part of bhakti. That's what makes bhakti adventurous. So we can see the curiosity. This is what can make bhakti as an adventure for us. So it is not anthropomorphism because we are not ascribing certainty. We are with humility acknowledging that we don't know for sure. But we have a positive attitude towards life. That what is happening, there is some higher plan or higher purpose behind it. Okay?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. So I think we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanand. So we have the other book also.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you show me a copy of this book? So this is prayers inspired by the Bhagavad Gita. There are 122 prayers in this book. And basically, as you have seen, many devotees told me that reading one prayer before chanting has helped them to calm and center their mind. And there are deities from various temples in India. And this is based on the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, 122 prayers. I'll be having 2 more books like this so that we'll have 366 prayers for the entire Gita. But there's a very accessible table of contents. So there are prayers when we feel lonely or we feel misunderstood. There are prayers when we feel directionless or lost in life. There are prayers when we feel as if our heart has become very dry and Krishna is far away. There are prayers when Our desires are running wild and we just feel we can't control them. So there are prayers for various occasions, and you can read the book one by one verses, or whichever prayer connects with your emotional mood, you can read that. And this is Gita for the CEO. This is nowadays there's a lot of interest in traditional wisdom systems and what they offer for today's world. From Japan, Ikigai has become popular. From Greece, Stoicism is becoming popular. So HarperCollins is one of the biggest publishers in the world. So they wanted me to present the Gita from a contemporary leadership perspective. This is a national bestseller in India. And I have presented this as a conversation between two people. The Gita itself is a conversation. So like some simple diagrams and sketches I was doing. Like that, there are diagrams and sketches over here. So basically, there are 10 principles from the Gita that I have taken and presented. How can we, when life knocks us down, how can we be more resilient? How can we manage our mind's emotions and stay regulated? How can we understand our own nature and how best we can contribute in our life? So like that, there are 10 practical principles, and it is not just for CEOs, it's for anyone. Ultimately, everyone is meant to be a CEO of their own life. So both these books are available, and when if you want, I'll be here for some signing the books or answering any further questions. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.